What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Water Break. We're in season 2.
What was that voice? I liked it, T.
What?
I wasn't sure what that voice was. You came in really high there.
I came in with a little heat on that one.
You did.
A little
You did.
Tabasco sauce.
I liked it, though. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go back. You do your thing.
You totally threw me off there. I didn't know you were.
My fault. Do your thing.
Hey, it's all good, though. Hey, we're back with another episode of Water Break. I'm Terrell. This is my co-host, Ryan Cavan. And we're excited for another episode. This is gonna be a fun one. We're well into season 2, and we got some fun topics lined up for you guys today. So throw it over to Dalen. What's up, bro? How's it going?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
I was gonna say we, but I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm doing very good, and I am. I honestly am extremely excited about this episode because we're talking about. I don't want to ruin everything, but we'll just say this, the best that never was, and we'll get a little bit more specific in a minute here, but that's kind of the main topic of what we're going to be discussing.
The gist.
I guess it really doesn't need to be a secret because the title literally is going to say what we're talking about.
Yeah, I guess you clicked on it.
That's true. The best that never was, NBA edition. And so some players that they could have been a little bit more if this didn't happen. And we're going to be talking about some things there. So
T, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great about this one. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. We've had this one planned out for a while, so I'm looking forward to this one.
We have this one actually was on our when we originally started brainstorming for season 2. This was one of the first topics that we came up with.
Yeah.
And so this I think it'll get some good discussion and some dialogue. The main topic is not necessarily a full debate topic, but we'll definitely have some good discussion. But we always got to throw in the little debate there at the end with a little heart.
Argue.
All right, well, let's get started and let's jump into our top 5 segment. And today we are going to go with T's top 5.
T's top 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
that
was awesome.
We gotta get in sync.
Yeah, we'll figure out something.
Get the jingles.
All right, T, we're gonna go with your top 5 best uniforms in sports.
We're talking fashion today, ladies and gentlemen. And look at this fashionable man right here.
I think this is a good one. You better have some good ones on your top 5. There are a lot of good uniforms.
There's one Dalen I'm thinking of that I really want to be on this list. And if it is, I haven't really thought of too many, so I'm not crazy on the uniform one. But I just hope I haven't seen it yet. I really have not seen it, but I'm hoping this one is on here.
Well, with the way that you guys kind of don't ever agree on anything, I doubt it's going to be on there. But let's see if T surprises us. All right, T, let's hear them.
All right, this one was really hard, and it took me a while to pick this one, and I feel like now we need to do this list again. But we'll narrow it down to like sport specific or even era specific. So I've got best uniforms in sports, and I'm just going with right now in 2020. What are the best uniforms that are out right now? So number 5, you guys know my disdain for this team. I despise them so much, but I cannot deny they have some of the best uniforms in the game, and that's the Laker uniforms. I'm going specific. I do like all of their whole uniform set. But specifically the purple road uniforms, those are my favorite. Those are my favorite Laker uniforms that are out right now. Don't touch me.
Ryan's getting a little excited over there just hearing you say the word Lakers.
I can't.
He said the word liked and the word Lakers in one sentence, and it just made me really emotional. Can we actually cut that out and just put those 2 words together?
Just replay it over and over.
No, I do like them. I like the purple. It's clean. I do like, even I liked last year's look where they mixed like the retro and the modern, but then I do like how they went back with the more of the modern look too. The black side panels, the white and the gold on it. I mean, those are clean. Those are fresh. Again, I like all 3 of them, the gold, the whites. Even the Mambas, which those are a couple years old, but still, the purple Laker uniforms, those are number 5. Number 4, we're sticking with LA. We're sticking with the home team for all of us. I'm going with the Dodgers home white uniform. Now, I'm not like a big baseball jersey like fan. I think most, especially like a lot of the road jerseys are like, can either be like real cartoony or just the colors are just so random. Like you have like the Padres have like a brown and yellow and all of it. Like I'm not a big baseball uniform, but I do like the clean, crisp look of the Dodgers white uniform. The
Super
blue,
crisp.
the blue letters, the red, like it just pops. That the red numbers really pop for me too. And then the cursive Dodger logo is always dope. The white home Dodger uniforms. Those are number 4. Number 3, I'm going across the pond. I don't know why I said with a British accent because it's not a British team. But I'm going with Barcelona's. I'm going with Barcelona home kit. I like the their colors are just so dope. I mean, I feel like most of the European soccer teams have sweet uniforms anyways.
Yeah.
I think like maybe the non-European teams like Argentina, I like theirs. Mexico, I like their uniforms. But I just feel like so much fashions over there, like Louis Vuitton, Christian Louboutin, and Dior, and all of these different fashion designers, like all they're European. And I feel like with soccer, especially over in Europe, I feel like their uniforms are all like real professional, all business, all fashion. Like, and so I love the red, the blue, the yellow, Barcelona. That's my number 3. That's my number 3 favorite. The striped one. I'm not a big fan of like the checkered Barcelona.
Yeah. No, I know which
the
one you're
stripes,
talking about. Yeah.
The stripes Barcelona.
I agree with you.
That's my number 3. My top 2, I love those 5. Like they're those. I have 5. They're my favorite. And those bottom 3, they're great. But the top 2 are separate. Like they're separate from the other 2. If
you say Spurs camo, I'm gonna lose it.
No, I think Spurs have.
That's on the top 5 worst.
I'm a diehard. They're
NBA
not
games.
worse. They're average. They're in the middle. They're clean. They're okay. They're fine. If the Spurs would add the Fiesta colors in there, the teal, the orange, the pink, if they add that into their uniform, then they could be up in the top uniforms. But they get real boring in just the silver and black. But still, it's a clean look. Anyways, now I'm about the Spurs. They're not on this list. Number 2, the LA Chargers powder blue uniforms. They kill it every year, but I like these new ones even better. The powder blue, the gold pants, the white helmet. I love the look. They've got this in their new uniform lineup. They have this like navy blue. I thought it was black, but it's like a navy blue Charger, like a real dark blue uniform, which I really like as well. But I'm going with the powder blue set. I like the Chargers powder blues. Number 2,
I'm not hating on you for that. I mean, I don't love them, but
powder blue just sounds like a little soft.
No, it's flashy. It's high. It's popping.
it's elegant.
Like that's a bomb look.
Interesting.
Google the powder blues. Look at them. Put them.
I know what they look like.
Wear them.
I'm aware.
Wear the next show.
Okay.
Number 2,
I know you're not going to pick the one I want. It's not going to be
my number 1. I don't know why I'm doing Trump hands right now.
Always throwing
but number 1. These uniforms, they just came out like a couple years ago, and they just really took it over the top for me. These uniforms, they're not only just like, most uniforms you wear and most jerseys wear like, oh, wear that at a sporting event, wear it at the game. You could rock these around town. They're a fashion statement. They're dope. They're fresh. To me, they're the best uniforms in sports. The Miami Heat's Miami Vice uniforms, all of them. All 4 of them. It's hard for me to pick. The black, the blue, the white, the pink, all of them. Miami Vice's uniforms are fresh because the NBA did a really good job of bringing Nike into the equation. Nike's done a really good job of the city edition uniforms and like have really given a nod to everyone's city. But these are dope. These are fresh. I mean, look at these, Ryan. Look at these uniforms.
I prefer the black ones. I mean the pink ones.
They're just I
wouldn't wear that like out as like the black.
The shorts. You'd rock the shorts. You'd rock those pink shorts.
I might rock the pink shorts. I do really like them. I really like them, and I actually could see why they're your number 1.
They're fire. They're bomb. The Miami Heat, Miami
I'm
Vice.
The one I wanted wasn't on your
all
top
of them.
okay.
Those are my top 5. Again, this was hard. We need to narrow this down into specific sports, I think, and even eras.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just went with right now the top ones. Right now, those are my top 5. You
I
guys
didn't
obviously aren't in love with my list.
I'm not in love with your list because it's like everything is just based on opinion, for that. Like there's not so many facts. Like, we've had some top fives that are very factual. This one is not. So it's based on opinion. So I'm not hating on you for it, but I really love the Raptors throwback. Like I love.
Yeah,
that
but see, I was
jersey.
gonna go
It's
like
so
I feel like that's like
cool.
a throwback episode. It is, but
it's right now. Like you said, like that are here in 2020. Like they've been wearing that one. Like that's a dope.
The
uniform.
Grizzlies throwback's pretty sweet too.
Oh yeah, I could have gone with either of those.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Super dope
kind
unis.
of on if I were to have a list.
Boston.
It doesn't matter what list. The Oregon Ducks football uniforms, no matter which ones, will always be on my list. Like the fact that Nike is headquarters are in Oregon and they have they make all of their uniforms. Like
I feel like they're cheating. They have an unfair advantage.
I don't care. There's not been an Oregon Ducks uniform that has not been fresh, and they always come out with the cleanest.
The neon green ones are ugly, but
You mean like the highlighter green one, the highlighter yellow ones?
Yeah,
those. I mean, I don't know with the silver helmet. I like I said, any uniform that they've ever come out with,
They do have a little up because
they do absolutely,
but,
and I think.
But you don't want to discredit them for that. They do have some nice uniforms.
Right, I think they're. But that's a pretty solid list.
It's hard. I think if we went college football specific,
they'd be number one.
Yeah, Oregon's number one.
You didn't like the Chargers one.
I didn't
could
like.
see on Dalen's face.
I wasn't a fan of the powder blue. I don't know. There's something about it was. I don't know.
You like the Rams?
I don't like the Rams New Jerseys either.
I thought they were ugly at first,
don't
but when I
know.
saw them on the players,
Maybe it's the logo. I think it's the logo that's off for me.
The logo looks uglier the first time you see it. When you see it on the helmet, to me it's not as ugly.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not as
that
bad. It's not great. But when I first saw it, social media had just a roasting frenzy about it. Like
on
it was
Twitter, that was hilarious.
Oh, it was bad. But then when you actually saw it on the helmet in game, to me it wasn't as bad. You agree with that, T?
Yeah.
I think they're a lot better than when they were the St. Louis Rams. But
True.
They've come a long way.
Have come a long way.
But
there we go.
anyways, great top 5, T.
T's top 5.
Yeah.
We should do something like that. Yeah, T. That goes for sure.
We need a little ring there. We're going to move into the main topic. And what we're talking about, we mentioned this earlier, the best that never was NBA edition. And I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to go the best that never was NBA edition. These ones are due to injury. These players did not achieve what we feel like they could have achieved because of injury. I'm going to go first, and then T will go second. So I'm going to start off with injuries here. For an honorable mention, the reason he's my honorable mention is because this player did achieve a decent amount, but I believe he could have achieved a lot more if he would have not gotten injured, and that's Derrick Rose. Again, still a great player, but I believe his game probably would have continued to stay at that level or even elevated to another level if he wouldn't have had those serious injuries, those back-to-back knee surgeries, really just those constant injuries he had just really took a toll on him,
Yeah.
And it was cool to see when he went to the T-Wolves and he had that 50-point game, that kind of resurgence. I mean, that was such an emotional moment for him and for NBA fans. It was just such a cool moment. But just because, he had that 150-point game and he's had a nice little run with the Pistons, with the T-Wolves, and, he was a good six-man. I believe he was in the running for six-man of the year, too. Maybe like the 4 or something like that, 4 or 5 there. He was in the talks for it. But really, I feel like he could have achieved a lot more. So that's why he's my honorable mention. I have a few others here I want to make mention. I'm going to give this one to Dalen. I'll let him talk a little bit about it maybe for a second. But he mentioned I did not have this one on my list, and that's Sean Livingston. And he did have an extremely gruesome injury, Dalen. It was bad. And he could have, I believe, he was still a good player with the Warriors. He was a contributor. He really helped them to elevate them to the next level, coming in into that second unit.
I literally just grabbed my leg as soon as you said that.
The one thing about Sean Livingston is that little turnaround baby jumper that he has. That is money.
That was money.
That is a money shot. When he was on the Warriors, if he got the ball down like that in the post and he was turned around, you saw that shot coming. It was almost automatic.
And it looked like he was going to miss.
Oh, every time. But then because you just expected him to continue to make it. It was unbelievable. So, Dalen, that one was for you.
I appreciate that. Just thinking of the injury itself, he tore his ACL, his PCL, his meniscus, and dislocated his knee. Like, Yeah, like
Yeah.
T was saying, like you just grabbed your knee when
Yeah.
it happened. But like, I truly believe that. I mean, it was only his third year in the league, I believe.
was
When
early,
that
yeah.
happened towards the end of his third season. But I just think if that would have never happened, I think he could have had
Multiple All-Star-
I think so.
All-Stars, yeah,
I mean, he
yeah.
just was something else. But I appreciate you putting him on the list because I definitely think
Got you, dog.
he should be there.
I got you, dog. All right, now here's the ones that I had written down. This is really in no particular order, but the first one I have is Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy, before his injury, was Rookie of the Year, a 3-time All-Star. And again, I mean, just we keep using this term. It's just kind of a term in basketball that's continually used. But this dude was a walking bucket. I mean, there are so many NBA players who just talked about this guy and how he was extremely difficult to guard. I mean, you could count on Brandon Roy doing some amazing things and even finishing games. He had that clutch factor, and then just that he continually injured his knee and had to retire early. His years with the Portland Trail Blazers, he has to be on that list, the best that never was. You disagree with that one, T?
Yeah, no, he's up there on the list. With injuries, like he was a superstar. I just think back to that series against the Mavericks. I can't remember which year that was. But I mean, he balled out against Dallas. That was a sweet series. Just imagine, if you get Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, Damian Lillard, on that team,
They would have a championship.
yeah, that could be a championship contending team.
I agree. Number 2, Greg Oden. Now, I know what a lot of people think. This to me was a little bit difficult, and so I want to explain this here. Everyone talks about how he's the biggest bust and such a bust. I guess, if you're a Blazers fan, if I was a Laker fan and they drafted him and this happened, I would be disappointed too. But the thing is with Greg Oden, you have to think this man, his weight being over 7 feet tall, having that serious foot injury, and it just seems to keep coming back and keep coming back. I mean, this guy, he was so dominant in college. He was picked number 1 before Kevin Durant. I mean, before one of the top 3 best players in our league. This guy was drafted before him, and we were expecting great things from him, but because of that injury, he did not live up to the hype. Again, I wouldn't look at him as a draft bust, T. I mean, I guess you could use those words, but it wasn't a bust like he came in and he didn't achieve anything great, which he didn't, but it wasn't because he just sucked. It was because of those injuries.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, because I don't even think Portland needed Kevin. I mean, it was at a time where NBA, like the big man, was a valuable position in the NBA.
Yeah.
So it was understandable why you took, you could have the next dominant big, a Shaquille O'Neal type, or a Dwight Howard type player in the league. Even that's why I think Milwaukee took Bogut. I think number 1 too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
you were taking that dominant center, and you thought Kevin Durant was just going to be another skinny, brittle, soft player. So I understand why Portland would take him number 1, but he's a guy you kind of feel bad for. I mean,
sure.
He did look 75 when he entered into the league.
He did, and he looks very old now playing for the Big 3. He's on the Aliens, so if you're interested in watching Greg Oden play, you can watch in the Big 3 next year. He plays for the Aliens, so just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something mean, but go ahead.
There you go. Next one, number whatever it is, Grant Hill.
Oh yeah,
This guy, and we all remember this. He was projected to be the next MJ.
Yeah, he was a baller coming out of Duke.
Oh my goodness, everyone was saying this is the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
this is the guy, and again, he had a good career.
Yeah,
he had a good little career. He had a good little run. He was a good player, but because of injuries, he did not live up to his full potential.
Yeah, he's in the Sean Livingston book. Sean Livingston would have. I mean, he's 6'7" or something like that. Like Sean Livingston's like a 6'7" point guard. Like, and with insane handles too. So I mean, you know, again, he would have been a phenom at the point guard position. Same with Grant Hill. He's another one due to injury. Just some of the best players that just never got to be there.
Last one here, another Duke guy, Jay Williams.
Yep.
Duke standout. Got in that motorcycle accident, just completely obliterated his leg. never was the same. Tried to make a few comebacks and just it never was the same. And that guy, he was going to be a stud. Like,
Yeah.
he was going to do some things. You know, this topic is, you know, there's so many, but it's so depressing too, you know, because it's like you look at these guys like, what could have been with these players that I mentioned? What could have been with these guys? Where could they have gone? What could they have done in the league if this wouldn't have happened to them? And I'm sure for them, they ask themselves that question even more. What could I have been? What could I have done if this didn't happen? I mean, you think about, you know, Goran Dragic during, you know, the finals. He, you know, it came out that he said that question. I asked God every day since that injury, why now? You know, and these guys, I'm sure, you know, there were moments of why did this happen to me? Why? And so because of those injuries, those guys did not live up to their full potential.
It's crazy you say that, you know, Grant Hill was one of the ones that, you know, on your list, the best that ever was, considering, you know, he is in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, he had, like, his career with all those injuries, but, like, he still managed to still make a good career out of all those injuries. And it's just crazy to see how some players are still capable of doing that. But then you look at guys like Greg Oden, and it was like the injuries just, he was never able to get over them, and then, you know, exited the league at 28, you know, and
so I'm going to ask this question real quick for both of you guys. I want to hear your answer since we talked about that. Is Derrick Rose a Hall of Famer?
No. I mean,
I don't think so either.
If he had, like, if his injury happened maybe 2 years later, possibly.
And if he was a standout in college, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, he was great in college in 1 year, I think.
Yeah,
one
but
year,
I'm saying if he was like he won a national championship, like
they were in it. They almost had it. I think they lost to Kansas, right? Mario Chalmers and Kansas. Yeah, they beat him. So I mean, he would have. I would have put him in that Tracy McGrady category. You know, a solid.
According to Basketball Reference, Derrick Rose sits at an 11% chance to make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'd put him.
That's
like, because in my opinion too,
that's pretty, I mean, pretty low.
You look at the year he won MVP. I mean, no knocking him at all, but LeBron James was a better player that year.
Better play? I mean, yeah, he's the best player in the league, but I think
even his stats were better.
Yeah, but the Bulls were the number one team in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we, you know, that's another argument for another time. Is that question that I think needs to be addressed? Yeah. What defines the MVP?
The best player on the best team.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, there's these outlier years like with Russell Westbrook winning, you know, James Harden. I think James Harden, the Rockets were the 1 seed when they won, but I can't remember fully if they were the 1 seed. But
I think Westbrook with the triple doubles.
Like that's the one.
It's a story.
That's the outlier one.
Of course,
but like, I think for the most part, best player on the best team.
I don't know. I mean, you know, there are some guys that can put up and do some amazing things with nothing around them and not be on the best team, and it's happened multiple times. That's what I'm saying. There's no consistency with it. If that is what we're going to label it as, if that's what we're going to say it is, then we need to stick to that. But there hasn't been consistency because there have been multiple times where LeBron won where he was not the best player on the best team.
Really?
When he was in Cleveland,
they were the number 1 seed in the NBA. 60 wins.
When he was in Cleveland, the first round.
Yeah, they were 60 wins. Number 1 team in the league.
I don't think
pretty sure they had like. Pretty sure they had the best record. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were number 1 seed.
I don't think so. Dalen's gonna fact
check. I'm pretty sure they had like.
You're talking about when he was in Cleveland.
He was in Cleveland
the first time around.
2000.
Yeah, when he won the two
2009
MVPs. When he won 2 MVPs in Cleveland.
2009, 2010.
We'll see.
Yeah, okay. 2009, 2010. They were like number 1 seed.
He's gonna look that up. He'll interrupt. But
those
are the best. Best NBA players that never were because of injuries. T, take it away.
So, I mean, I think best players that never was we look at, you know, the other factor we talked about, like maybe it's just the situation that they were in, you know, or the organization they played in, or just maybe so happened like they ended up playing with the wrong player. And so, you know, here are my guys, you know, the number one guy, like I think of just off of situation and what they came into and all of the factors really outside of injury. First guy I think of right off the bat is Sebastian Telfair. So this guy, you know, for those of you who like, you know, haven't looked,
Many people would not be
may not familiar with him. Sebastian Telfair was the biggest star right after LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James, came in the league in 2003. He was the biggest high school phenom in the world. Like, everyone's talking about in America, everybody's talking about this kid. He's the chosen one. He's the, we know the hype around LeBron James. Sebastian Telfair piggybacked right off of that. Again, another high school star who's killing it in New York. He's balling. He's the next big thing, the next big point guard to come into the NBA. This guy's a bucket. He had sick handles. He had that street ball, that New York style of play. Like, this Sebastian Telfair was insane, was an insane player. And then he committed to Louisville, backed out, and joined the NBA right out of high school. He was taken in the first round by Portland, I think 13th, overall, taken by the Trailblazers. And when he came into the league, came into Portland, he bombed his rookie year. I think he averaged like 6 points a game his rookie season, and didn't really pan out into the player. I think he only lasted 8 seasons in the league. He bounced he was in Portland for like a couple seasons. Nate McMillan came in and coached that team, kind of elevated his game a little bit as the starter. But then again, faded out. Obviously, you have guys coming in later, like a Brandon Roy coming in later. So he kind of faded out, ended up he played for Phoenix, played for Boston, played for the Clippers for a little bit. So he kind of went team to team to team and then just kind of fizzled out. But again, he had, for what he was, to have LeBron James level hype coming out of high school, and then just to really fizzle out in the NBA. And not just that, like, his story is kind of like sad. Like, he not only wasn't good in the NBA, just even in his life, like, went to prison twice, like, had 2 felony charges or multiple felony charges, went to prison on two separate occasions. And then I think even sadly, like, I think one of his relatives, his mom or something like that, passed away of COVID too, like this year. Like, just, you feel bad for the, for the guy. Like, not only did his, career not pan out, it's like some guys, it's like they made their millions, they weren't as great as they should have been. Yeah. But then not only that, like, even to spend time, even to do jail time, like, Sebastian Telfair really was a guy, like, maybe if he got in a better situation, maybe if he went to college, that's where I feel like he should have went to Louisville.
Probably would have been good for him.
Should have spent some time in college, maybe allowed him to grow up, because I feel like the pressure and the hype, LeBron James, like, I will say, like, to me, he's, no knock on him, like, I don't say he's a scrub, I don't think he's the GOAT, but he's the second best. For him to not only have the hype surrounding him come out of high school, but to not just live up to it, but sustain it and to be able to handle it and not let all of, like, you've seen what it does to 2 guys. Yeah. Like, you've got LeBron James, who's now in the conversation, one of the greatest of all time, had the world looking on him. Sports Illustrated in high school, chosen one. Sebastian Telfair all over Slam Magazine, Sports Illustrated, all of those magazines as well, ESPN, they were looking at this dude as the next big phenom, and he just crumbles under that. So Sebastian Telfair, he's one of those guys.
I think it would have been even crazier because he would have gotten even more hype if there was no LeBron James.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, he was kind of coming in right after him. So for those years, he didn't get as much publicity, I guess you can say. So if there was no LeBron James, he would have been put even more in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And it would have been... we would have been talking, I feel like, even more. It would have been even worse. Even bigger deal.
And I feel like, guys like him is really where, like, the NBA was like, okay, we need to start pushing these guys towards college, because of the pressure, getting to them, which is a conversation for another day, should
to answer your question about LeBron, in his first MVP season, he won 66 games, and in his second MVP season, he won 61.
Yeah. So was he the number 1 seed?
Yeah.
Yeah, both of which they lost in the conference finals.
But they were still the number.
Were they in the number 1 seed in the regular season for Western Conference and Eastern Conference?
Had to have been 60+ wins.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
You don't have to be if you have 60+ wins. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure they were number.
I think the 2009 season.
I think the Lakers were the number 1 team in the West. Maybe Phoenix.
Let me fact check that for you guys.
Lakers or Phoenix, probably one of those teams.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Okay. You got another one?
Sebastian Telfair. My number 2, Michael Beasley.
Oh yeah.
Mike Beasley.
Yeah.
He's taken number 2 behind Derrick Rose by Miami Heat, and he's a guy. He came in again. Situations surrounding him. Part of it was on himself. He was like beating his chest. He felt like he should have been the number 1 pick in the draft. He thought he was better. Felt he was better than Derrick Rose, and I feel like that affected him greatly coming into Miami. Because again, this is a Miami team. They had just won the championship 2 years before they drafted him. Took somewhat of a step back. D Wade battling injury as well. So him coming in like, okay, we've got this high draft pick. And he's going to help push us to this next level, come in and be this new era, another star who can score alongside. Because this dude balled out at Kansas State.
Yeah.
He was, balled out in the tournament, had a great college career. And then coming into the draft, like, okay, another piece for D Wade to work with. This is going to be a good.
There's a lot of hype surrounding
a lot of hype surrounding him. And he struggled so much that he was a trade piece. They got rid of him to bring in LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and that whole squad in Miami. Like, he was only spent 2 years in Miami and then was shipped to the Knicks. I think he was sent maybe to the Knicks.
No, he played for the Knicks later. He ended up coming back to Miami.
Did he go back to Miami?
Yeah, he ended up coming back to Miami.
I'm sure Dalen fact check. I can't remember where did
the Lakers were the number 1 seed in the West in both those seasons.
Yeah.
And so were the Cavs in both those seasons.
So again, best player, best team.
Well, we don't know who was the number 2 seed. It was number 1 in the West, number 1 in the East. It's okay. We're off it. We're off it.
So Michael Beasley.
Who did he get traded from?
Miami, Minnesota,
okay.
Phoenix, Miami.
Yeah, he came back to Miami because he did play with LeBron. I think it was I don't think he won. Did he win a championship? I think he might have won a championship in that second to last year. But I know he was there the last season when they played the Spurs, so he did come back to Miami.
No,
they would have
Spurs
lost
won
that.
in 2014.
They would have lost that.
So he lost that year. He was on the Heat in 2014.
No, but I'm saying the year before, I think he might have been on as well, is what I'm saying. I think he was on those last 2 years, and I think he won a championship.
He was with the Suns in 2013.
Okay, so he didn't win. Okay, I thought it might have been 2 years there, but
no,
he was on the
1 year,
Yeah. So
and then he went to New York and actually had a little bit of a.
he did okay.
Yeah, he had a couple 30-point games.
Did he play with the Lakers last year? Or was it a couple years ago? Was it last year?
No, it was last year.
2019,
Yeah. Last year he played with the Lakers.
Lakers.
After the Heat stint, the second one, he played for the Rockets in 2016 and the Bucks in 2017, which I don't think he was.
And then the Knicks in 2018,
and then the Knicks,
Lakers
and then,
in 2019,
yeah.
And now he in China. I don't know where he is. Is he in China?
I don't know where Mike Beasley is, but again, another player.
Yeah.
Tough situation. Again, part of that's D Wade going back and forth with injuries, not enough. And again, Miami's a tough place to play. Pat Riley, those guys, like it's a hard nosed organization. So, he's one you kind of feel for situationally. Again, part of it is his own. I feel like a little bit of his own arrogance too got in the way.
Definitely.
Another guy I thought of or thinking about is Josh Childress. So Josh Childress, again, another baller out of Stanford. He's from Lakewood area. I believe he's from Lakewood, Long Beach area.
From this area.
Yeah. He played at Stanford. Again, another baller coming out of Stanford, drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, and he had a good, he had a good solid, time with Atlanta. He bounced around. He really blew up in China. When he went over to China, that's where he really blew up. But again, he's another one of those he was another high prospect player who was expected to come in and lift the franchise, elevate the franchise to the next level. He's another guy that was really good, but he was he's a guy, I guess, he just didn't try as hard. And I feel like maybe if he was surrounded by the type of players who could
to elevate
him.
He made the all rookie team his first season.
Yeah,
so,
I just remember him.
To show you he could have been something.
He had
good.
the talent.
Yeah,
I remember playing with him
yeah.
in NBA Live in the dunk contest. He was a fantastic player.
And even, I mean, it's funny you say that. I don't know if you've played with him before too, but he's played at the gym and at the that we play at often, and he does, even when he comes, he has the talent. But even when him and Corey Maggette, they'll match up against each other, and it's funny. It's just like this different heart, even in like pickup. Like you know, you'll see like Corey come out like, you know, just more aggressive, and it's more I know it's pickup, but still, I'm just using that as an example because I've seen him. You're so right. Like it's almost like everything was kind of nonchalant, you know?
Yeah, like if he felt like it, he would do it. If not.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that.
So he's another one. A couple more I thought of. And this guy had a really good career, but I didn't feel like could take off to like, I felt like he could be in like Allen Iverson level. And that's Steve Francis. Stevie Franchise.
Yeah.
You know, playing over in Houston, like he was another great point guard. Averaged close to or around like, no, it was like he was one of a few players that averaged like 15, 5, and 5 like in his first few years in the league. Like he's a solid player, solid point guard, and athlete. Dude could jump out the gym.
He won Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Okay.
99, 2000.
Yeah. So Steve Francis could ball, and then you know he got traded over to Orlando for Tracy McGrady. Who else? Katino Mobley went over to Orlando. And so, you know, that was the trade swap in Orlando. And then, you know, then you had Dwight Howard come in and there was the tension between Steve Francis and Dwight Howard. Then he went over to the Knicks.
Because they had Jameer
Nelson, all of that. So he went over to the Knicks. The Knicks had, you know, the Knicks of the Knicks. So
it's just like he was always in a bad spot.
Yeah, it was just like he couldn't, like,
couldn't find his fit.
Houston kind of, I guess, did him dirty.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, they got Tracy McGrady for it.
You got Tracy McGrady, which even then Houston still, it was like one of those like I mean Houston wasn't like, you know, fantastic, but at the same time, you know, I feel like he got the raw end of the deal. Steve Francis could have been that. Last guy, Markelle Fultz. He's the other guy. I think you know, the number one was Jason Tatum in the same draft, right? Jason Tatum was taken third.
Yep.
So, and Lonzo Ball was second. Lonzo was second. So,
and then Josh Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's a guy. The Sixers had a chance at, you know, Jason Tatum, missed on that. Took Markelle Fultz, but then even that just like took away his confidence. Like it was not only you need to change, like you need to fix your shot because he was bad. Like his free throw shot was broke. Like that was terrible. But not only that,
clips
like
out there of him shooting that are just like, oh.
But his confidence just plummeted. And then when he went to Orlando, like it's like, okay, that's the guy we expected to you know to come out and be who he was. But he was a guy I feel like just Philadelphia was not the best fit for him. Because he had the hype surrounding him being number one, but everyone's so focused on fixing his jump shot that, you know, it really just messed with him psychologically.
It's weird because he was nasty at Washington.
Yeah.
Like he could attack the rim like nothing.
Oh my goodness. Like, and I just don't understand how like the transition from college to the NBA was just so drastic for him because it was, he had all this hype around him. Like I remember, you know, obviously he went to Washington, he played USC, but I went to a USC game and he didn't play that game. But me coming in thinking like, oh man, like, I'm ready to watch Markelle Fultz because I've been hearing about him all year. And then he didn't play, but then he gets drafted, you know, number one. And it's just like the transition to me is just crazy how it just all got messed up.
So would it be maybe his mental toughness is more at fault or the Sixers organization is more at fault? Because to me, it's like you got to be able to shoot if you're playing in the NBA.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there was just so much of the pressure of fixing his shot, and I think they probably drilled that into him. Like, and then it didn't help that they drafted Ben Simmons, like who plays the same position.
No, they already had Ben Simmons.
Oh yeah, Ben Simmons was out.
Had him.
Ben Simmons was
like,
out.
That was the thing. They picked him up to be a part of that core. Like there were pictures of Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz. Like they were advocating for him. Like they were roasting Lonzo and LeVar, which he wouldn't have been a good fit in Philly either. I'm not saying that.
No,
but can you imagine if they would have picked up Jason Tatum?
Yeah.
If there was Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid right now, they would have a championship. They would have beaten Kawhi and the Raptors. They would have had a championship.
But I mean that goes back to, you know, a conversation on leadership too. Like part of that could have been like Brett Brown too, not putting
Of course.
Making it happen for them.
For sure.
Because again, I do give you got to give Philly a little bit of a break. Like they were four bounces on the rim away from possibly being in the conference finals. With Kawhi hitting that shot. So if it takes maybe a fifth bounce, or one less bounce and goes out, who knows? Maybe Philly's in there. So they did give it a run. Yeah. But yeah, Markelle Fultz, I feel like the organization, because now you see him in Orlando. Mm-hmm. He has turned a corner. He has, grown to that player.
He's turned a nice little role player.
So
yeah, not number one pick worthy, but a decent little role player.
Yeah,
he averaged I think 12 points a game. I mean, like you said, a role player. He's not anything that's a major threat or anything. But
yeah, definitely. Whew, that was a fun one.
That was a good one. The
All right,
best
boys.
it ever was.
Well, you know what time it is. Heart overhead. No facts, no stats, no information. Speak from the heart.
Let's go.
Should games have overtime?
No.
T, why are you always the first one to answer? Come on, bro.
Thank you, Dalen. I appreciate that, bro.
Right.
And every time he just like screams.
It's just
like
right, as soon as I ask the question, it's yes. No.
He didn't say Terrell. He just asked us in general.
Like he didn't even take a second to think about it.
Dalen, would you mind if I took this one first?
Yeah, I was gonna say, right. Do you want to go first on this one?
Let me go first on this one.
All right.
Absolutely, it should have overtime. To me, there's nothing. Maybe not. There's not much as exciting in sports than an intense overtime, where there's a limited amount of time that is added on to the end of the game, when it is like, this is do or die. This is for everything. Like these last few moments is what matters. We tied this group. We couldn't get over the hump during regulation. Let's take this thing, these next few minutes, and let's go. You better not be searching on Google. This is hard. No head. This is hard. No,
I'm deleting my tabs.
No facts.
Okay,
no
just
stats.
Sure.
Terrell.
Thank you, Dalen. Thank you. I saw this computer over here. I was like, I started
trying to type with one
My
finger.
the OCD is kicking in. I have too many tabs open.
Do not go on this one. But absolutely, we should have overtime. Look, what are we gonna do? We're gonna end in a tie. Nothing makes me more angry than a football game that ends in a tie. I want there to be a winner in sports. There needs to be a winner and there needs to be a loser, and it needs to end. And that needs to be definitive. And so for me, that's my personal opinion. I think we need to have an overtime. It's so intense. You as a fan are just completely engaged in the game and just excited to see the outcome. And even when your team loses, that adrenaline pumping, that's what we do. That's why we love the game. I mean, we play pickup basketball and there's an overtime. It's you're going to see who is going to win this game, who's going to finish it. And I think in sports, that's something that you can't take away. It's really going to hurt.
You done?
I mean, I stopped. I'm done for now. I might interrupt you.
All right.
Hey, I just like to point out, thank you for not interrupting me. I appreciate that. Usually you interrupt me.
That was hard. It was hard not to jump in there. Look, I mean, you brought a lot of energy, a lot of juice on that one. But look.
Always do, friend.
Daylin, we need to get rid of the overtime. Look it.
You better have some good points here.
The overtime is a waste of time. In particular, the timed overtime. Okay, you went off and you were talking about, oh, we didn't win the game in regulation, and now we're gonna go for some extra time, and we're gonna go even harder. That's actually in most cases in overtime, that doesn't happen. In fact, what a lot of times, for example, for particular in the game of basketball, right? You play 48 minutes, or in college, you play 20 minutes, high school, whatever, 8 minutes. You play a full game, full regulation. It comes down to the last 90 seconds of the game. The teams are going at it. They're playing hard defense. They're moving the ball. They're trying to make the best play. And a team hits the shot with 5 seconds left, hits the 3-pointer to go ahead. Everyone's going, excited. Adrenaline's pumping. They're like, yeah, let's go. Till the team calls a timeout. They get the ball in, dribble it down, hit a 3, tie it. They're going crazy. We're going into overtime. In that rush, the adrenaline, the peak is up here. And almost always there's such a letdown at the start of overtime because everyone because the fans are excited, the players are excited. Like, whoa, we had a cool game. Whoa, yeah, let's feed off of that momentum. But for the players, there's such a letdown because now it's okay. We're gonna go another 5 minutes. What happens? There's always a letdown either by one team or by both teams. One team, you see it all the time. A team will come out in overtime and one team will go on like an 8-0 run or a 10-0 run to start off overtime. And then the other team is down. Another team they won, and they maybe won by 5 points in overtime or 6 points in overtime or whatever. Came down to, and you really only go hard in the final minutes. So why drag it out again? You already, if you're going to add more time, just add more time to the quarters. Take away the time from the end of the game and make it. Look, I'm a huge proponent of a next point wins. I love next point wins.
That's still overtime though.
Because it's overtime, but I'm talking about timed overtime. Why play an extra 5 minutes? We already played 48. Everybody's gassed. Everybody's tired. If you want to get the best, because look, when you play a pickup game, especially we often play pickup games and we time it. You're right. We want to get a lot of runs in, and we play an 8-minute pickup game. 8 minutes are up. It's tied. It's 9-9 in a pickup game.
Shoot for ball, next point wins.
Shoot for ball, next point wins. Everybody's going hard because the game's ending. If they make a shot, the game is ending. It's over. Mm-hmm. And even at the highest professional level, you're like, oh, but let's get more time on the game. And it's like, no, we don't want to see a whole nother game, another 5 minutes of like, yes, that was good. That was exciting. We don't want to see another 5 minutes of this. We want to see like that last minute, that last intense. Everybody's giving it their all. Everybody's trying to make the smartest plays. Everybody's hustling after loose balls. We want to see that last final seconds of the game. So put it all, no time. Next point wins. Let's get a bucket. Okay. All right? Now. No. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you answer that.
2 things. Number 1. Dalen. He kind of twisted your question. Because your question was just simply...
Should games have overtime?
And you still are advocating overtime. You're just
I'm advocating
for a different format.
Well, I'm advocating for a winner. Someone's got to win the game.
Okay, so you're advocating for a different form of overtime. It's still overtime. So I'm actually gonna say something here that might surprise you in the Heart Over Head segment. I would tend to agree with you on this. I think it's actually a very good idea, but I would change one small thing. Okay. I believe there should be overtime, and I think you're right. I think there would be a little bit more excitement, and the players would be playing harder, and the fans, it would be crazy. I think instead of next point wins, it should be first team to score like 10 or something like that.
Kind of like they did in the All-Star game?
Yeah, I was going to say All-Star game format was kind of interesting.
Because you think in an overtime, what is the normal point, 10 to 20 in a normal overtime?
20 points?
10 to
between
15,
the two teams?
Yeah. No, each team scores, in 5 minutes.
It's usually like 10 points. Yeah, it's like...
So you say 10 to 15 points. Let's say first team to 12.
Yeah, that's another way to do it.
Because then you're playing hard because you see the score, you see what's happening. So if we have 150, we know we got to get, if it's 12, we got to get to 162.
I have a question for T. Would you be opposed? Because I know you're saying, everybody goes hard with the
last shot,
last seconds of the game. Would you be opposed to having a minute on the clock in overtime? That way, you have 1 minute. You have 60 seconds to do what you can.
Again, you have with time offers you timeouts, all of that. No timeouts, no strategy. You go hard. Next point wins. It's all about the players at this point.
And also the 1 minute would also give, because there's always double overtime and stuff. It would just leave for more opportunities for a double overtime.
Well, then if you do next point wins, you can't have free throws. I feel like you would have to take.
Well, they
that
did.
out.
Well, they did in the All-Star game.
You would have to take
that
out.
I could say that's why I think first team to 10.
Well, I would say no free throws. You can't win on a free throw.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You can't win on a free throw unless it's a flagrant foul or a technical foul. Like if someone is.
But if you just did a 10, you could do free throws.
No free throws. This is going hard. If you get fouled, you get the ball back.
I think with Ryan's format, it would make sense if you are going to get to a certain point amount, like 10 points, 15 points, whatever. Say it's 10. I think you can factor in free throws, but If you're saying next point wins, then yeah, no free throws at all.
No free throws. Here's
So
my.
what do you
here's,
do if you get fouled? You just get the ball?
well, okay,
You get
so
the ball up top.
okay,
yeah.
so yeah, you get
Check
next
ball.
Check
next
ball.
point.
Let's
Next
go.
point wins. You get the ball. You get fouled. You take it out. You take it out of bounds. Now, if you get flagrant foul, like if a team, because if you say no fouls, I'm clotheslining you every time you get to the rim. So it's a flagrant foul. Flagrant foul, you can enter the free throws. So you're not getting dirty play or technical foul. You're not getting
But you're
cheap
getting
shots.
intentional fouls.
Intentional fouls. If your team intentionally fouls, that player gets removed from the court, and now you play 5-on-4.
That's just too many rules.
No,
No,
if
it's not.
if it's
No,
a
it's not.
flagrant foul,
If you're trying to, if
no
you're
free throws. But if it's a flagrant foul, then you get it's like you got fouled out of the game, and someone else has to
you take
come
them
in.
off the court.
me
No, no,
It's
no,
not
no,
five-
no, no, no.
5-on-4.
No, yeah, go 5-on-4 because now you take away like the cheap play.
No, this
Take
is
a-
too much.
take
I'm
away-
gonna call Adam Silver real quick and see what he thinks about it.
You take away the cheap play,
I
right?
think-
because
I
it happens.
think
It
you go
happens. It happens in pickup ball.
No,
Right,
that's-
you just
but you
grab
don't
someone
pull
and you
someone
foul. You grab someone and you foul, and it's like, okay, well, let's start over. Let's start over. and
That's
it's
why
like,
I'm
well, let's
saying.
not
That's
start
why I'm
over.
saying run it to 10, because everyone's still gonna be playing hard because that's what you have to get to. Run it to 10, play to 10, and include free throws.
But then you could still win on a free throw.
Exactly. That the All-Star game won on a free throw, and that was still entertaining.
It was lame. Joel Embiid said that. Joel Embiid
That was one
said-
player.
Well, I mean, he was the one that was like he said it like I think during like literally right after the game or like whenever they do the little interview post.
But then even though it's like it's still, I mean,
It's not a fun finish to
it would
the
still
game.
be more it would still be kind of an intentional foul. I mean, because someone goes up for a layup. Yeah, you're not going to flagrant, but you're going to body them extremely hard because you know they're just going to get the ball back. So no one would drive. It would pretty much have to end on a jump shot or a wide open like dunk or layup.
No, I mean you could drive to the basket.
But
You
I
catch them on a
wouldn't.
back cut.
They wouldn't flagrant, but they would. You would.
But who wants
you
to?
would try
But who wants
foul.
to see a game-winning layup? You want to see someone wet it in someone's face for the game winner,
or dunk?
or I mean, yeah, you might get that.
That's why I think you do free throws. You go to 10.
that back door. But either way, I think that's fun.
Okay. So
Now let's expand it to other sports. Football,
you just ignored my hand.
COVID.
Where we agree? Oh, COVID. My bad. My bad.
COVID-19.
My bad. My bad.
Well, you're not 6 feet apart, so it can
Yeah,
doesn't
we're not-
matter. And you're not wearing masks, but it's okay.
Yeah, we didn't really think about that. Yeah, it's all
so
good.
no, so but even football, I would get rid of the timed overtime in football. I like what college football
I love
does.
how college football does it.
College
Yep.
football,
I
you,
think
you
they
just
should
get
do
the
it.
ball at the
I
20.
agree.
I think because NFL players are so good, they should start at the 50, move it to the 50, and you can go. Let's go 4 downs. Let's
Yeah.
go 5 downs. 5 downs. Move it to the 50-yard line, or move it to the 40. Move it to the 40-yard line. Go 5 downs, and try to move up because the kickers
No
are
field
going.
goals. No field goals. You
So
can't win on a field goal.
Okay, so take the kicker out of it. Okay, if you take the kicker out of it,
Go to the 30.
then move it up. If you're gonna have the kicker,
No.
move it back because the kickers are
Right,
so accurate
exactly.
in the
Yeah,
NFL.
yeah.
I don't think you should. I don't think just like no free throws.
Major League
you can't
Baseball,
you can't do field goals.
Major League Baseball, no extra innings. Take the extra innings out of there. Don't like it.
Home run derby.
Well, that's
You
what they
either
were-
do a
well,
home run derby, or like in soccer, you pick your best 5. You pick your best 4 or 5 batters. The other team picks their best pitcher, and you go at it.
Yeah, baseball. I don't know if that works as well. Don't like that as much for baseball.
I
like
do-
the football. Like
I
the
do
basketball.
like,
don't
though,
like the baseball.
I mean, I know that there was some, a lot of players and coaches didn't like the new rule they implemented with the start of extra innings. They put a player on second base. I think I like that because baseball into extra innings to me is just it's boring.
It's boring.
So to have somebody already on second base, it kind of makes the game go a little faster, and you get the winner a little bit. You get the winner faster, but with baseball, I think you'd have to do something like that to make it where
Yeah.
it's gonna be quicker, just because the.
I mean,
the-
there
the
there are
sport
games.
itself.
There are games that will go 20 innings.
Right, exactly.
I mean, the
There
Dodgers
was the
Red
one-
Sox.
There was one that was
That
like
playoff game?
19 innings.
19 innings.
I
or something
forget
like
how
that.
many hours, 7.5 hours, 8 hours, or something like
it went,
that.
One went to the next day. It was
Yeah.
like 2 a.m. or something
Like,
like,
I
that,
don't
1
know.
a.m.
Baseball, they're gonna have to figure something out with that.
I agree with
but
that. Well, this is the first hard overhead that we've had some agreements on.
No overtime.
But I am
No
correct.
OT.
Well, there is overtime. It's just formatted a little bit.
No
differently. No time.
Time. No
of time.
overtime.
Overtime. But there is an overtime.
It's the
So they're gonna-
tiebreaker. We're calling
They're
it
gonna
the
have to name
tiebreaker.
it something different.
Yeah,
Tiebreaker.
they would have to.
The tiebreaker.
But
The tiebreaker.
there we go. Well, hey, thank you for listening to another episode of Water Break.
Thank you. Jolly good.
I don't know why I
Well
did
done. Give us some porridge.
It's all right. It's okay. That's what I did right there. I don't know why I did that. But
Here you have some coins for me, Mr. Scrooge.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Water Break. We'll catch you on the next one. New episodes get released every Monday and Wednesday. And again, stay hydrated.